Războiul din Ucraina continuă, din păcate, iar Marea Neagră devine un teritoriu tot mai disputat între puterea, armată și diplomație. Ce vrea de fapt Federația Rusă? Ce rol joacă Turcia și cât de pregătită este România să profite cu adevărat de toate avantajele pe care le are în regiune? Discutăm toate aceste perspective în detaliu cu Özgür Altan, ambasadorul Turciei la București. Sunt Cristina Cileacu, începe Pașaport diplomatic. Özgür Altan, ambassador of Turkey in Bucharest, welcome to Diplomatic Passport.
Thank you for inviting.
Ambassador, we are talking about the fact that the war in Ukraine continues, and as Vladimir Putin recently stated to President Trump, his goal is to finish what he started. We can think of the fact that he wants to control all the coast of the Ukraine when it comes to its access to the Black Sea. For the rest of us being countries of the Black Sea, what could be the future of security, first of all, and then the freedom of navigation over our sea, because it's a common sea?
Black Sea security is dear to us. It's very important for Turkey. I know it's also very important for Romania as the littoral countries. We need to finish this war together. We need to help Ukraine, and we need to help Russia come out of this hole that was dug. We never agreed with what happened here, and our president, our country, was very clear from the outset, and not only from 3 years ago, from Crimea. We have been very clear on this. But from our perspective, no matter who says what at this point in time, the emphasis should be on diplomacy, on more talks. So President Erdogan and our Minister Hakan Fidan, they are very much engaged on a daily basis, publicly but also not publicly, to bring the parties together. We have been doing this effort, actually, it's not something new, for the last 3.5 years almost. 1 month after the war, we were very close to bringing the parties together and agree on a deal. Then, as you know, we have facilitated the grain deal, the prisoner exchange. So our emphasis has always been on diplomacy. That's what we supported. And today we continue this. Our president speaks almost on a daily basis with President Putin, with President Trump. And also our minister is very much involved. He traveled to Moscow, he traveled by train to Kiev, and we were able to bring the parties together in Istanbul twice. So things are going to work, even if it's on a positive track, really slowly, because this has been an ongoing war, an ongoing conflict. There's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of bad feelings, and we should be patient. In these 2 rounds of talks in Istanbul, we achieved something, prisoner exchange, and that was, I think, a small but a very important step in the right direction. So now, today, we're still trying to speak with the people in Russia at the highest level and also in Kiev, to convince them soon, I hope, for a 3rd round, and maybe we will build on the progress that we have already made.
If we look again to the goals of Vladimir Putin, as I said, he wants to take all the coastal line of Ukraine and to cut Ukraine from the Black Sea. That leaves us, the rest of us, being on the shores of the Black Sea as well, in the case of having more Russia closer to us. We have a saying in Romania, Marea Neagră este lac rusesc. It's not the case anymore. Marea Neagră is no longer a Russian lake. But is it a Turkish lake? Is Turkey now the superpower in the Black Sea?
We don't want it to be a Russian lake, and we don't want it to be a Turkish lake. We don't want nobody's hegemony in this. We want freedom of navigation for the entire Black Sea region, the maritime area, the countries around it, to be a center for peace, prosperity and stability. So for the maritime area, our policy has essentially two pillars. One, the Montreux Convention. And as you know, this convention has proved its value. After 80 years, it's still very relevant. This is almost the only reason that we had relative stability in the maritime zone. The war did not proliferate as it could have in the maritime area. So we have invoked Article 19 of this convention, and we have declared what was going on was war. Just after a couple of days that the war has erupted, and the warships of the warring parties, including Russia particularly, they agreed to stay out of the Black Sea. This contributed to the relative stability. And I believe also regional cooperation to secure the stability is very important in the Black Sea. And as you know, Turkey, Romania and Bulgaria are doing a lot these days for this. Last year, in 2024, we have agreed on this mine countermeasures. Exactly, MCM Black. And this has proved to be a wonderful asset. A great example of what NATO allies, littoral allies in Black Sea can do together. And I think there's more room to expand this cooperation between the three NATO allies. And of course, one of the issues is that since we have this MCM Black example that worked very well, maybe we can expand the scope of this. One idea is very important for Romania and Turkey. We both have some energy infrastructure over here. Neptune Deep is coming into force next year, and we already have Sakarya basin. So we need to protect against everything. I mean, not only kinetic but also static threats such as the mines. So critical energy infrastructure protection, this is a very important possible area. We can also work on search and rescue. None of this has been agreed yet. All three countries are discussing internally, but also amongst themselves, how we can put upon this. We need to really look to Black Sea not as a security threat area. Everybody, including Russians, Ukraine, the NATO allies here, but Georgia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, we need to look to Black Sea of what it can be.
As an opportunity, yes.
Exactly, what kind of an area of stability it can become. In connectivity, in energy, in prosperity, in mutual commerce, navigation. It can be the whole circle. We can make it a circle of peace, stability and prosperity. And this is what we're working for.
But we have the Russians, and everybody saw already their attitude. Do you think, especially since they took Crimea, and let's just hope that the plan of Putin will not become real, but if we'll have a lot of Russia, let's say, closer to us in the Black Sea, shall we expect them to be peaceful, because it's not their style?
I really don't want to speak hypothetically, Cristina. I want to be positive. I want to be optimist. As the country we are and the person I am.
We all want to be optimists, yes. But I'm afraid this is what it is. I mean, Russia had a position when it comes to Crimea, for instance.
We need to do our best to seek for further diplomacy. Bring the parties together, try to convince them this is how they win. It's a win-win. And I don't want to think of further battles. Of course, everybody should be ready for this. This is why countries have armies, but we should think for more peace, more negotiation, more diplomacy. This is the real power, in my opinion. And maybe in the last couple of years, we did not emphasize this dimension. Now we see in the last, let's say, 6 months, we have been really pressing hard, but also in the US there's a change of administration and the emphasis on more diplomacy, more negotiation. It's not easy, as I indicated. It will take time, but eventually we will get there. Hopefully, without more suffering, more killing. This is a terrible thing.
M-ați rugat să avem și o parte în limba română în acest interviu, tocmai pentru că vorbiți limba română și aș vrea să vorbim despre întâlnirea pe care președintele Turciei Recep Tayyip Erdogan și președintele României Nicu Șordan au avut-o recent la summitul NATO de la Haga. Ce urmează din punctul de vedere al Turciei de data aceasta după această discuție?
A fost o discuție foarte fructuoasă și foarte importantă din părerea mea. A fost în prima întâlnire dintre două președinți. Faptul e că suntem parteneri strategici. Este un parteneriat uriaș. Oamenii în stradă, în Turcia și în România nu știu acest lucru foarte bine. Avem o parteneriat economic foarte mare. Cristina, în acest an va fi în jurul de 13 miliarde de dolari. Investiții din Turcia la România este uriaș. Este în jurul de 8-9 miliarde de dolari și în economia reală. Și avem foarte mult de câștigat dacă avem mai mult cooperare și în domenii militar. Este foarte important.
S-a discutat despre acest lucru între cei doi președinți?
S-a discutat și avem deja un parteneriat și legătură foarte strânsă dintre țările noastre și dintre în domeniul training, exercise, în domenii Marea Neagră, securitate în Marea Neagră, dar și în industrie de apărare. Acest lucru este foarte important pentru că firmele din Turcia sunt gata să fac sharing of know-how, producție comună în România și în Turcia. Acest lucru nu este ușor, dar pentru Turcia și pentru firmele din Turcia este o posibilitate cu o țară ca România, care este un prieten, un aliat NATO, vecin din Marea Neagră și este faptul că avem o legătură foarte strânsă oamenii la oamenii dintre țările noastre. Comunitatea turcă și tatară sunt foarte bucuroși aici. Pentru că România este o țară foarte liberă, cu toleranță, cu înțelegere și sunt foarte bine integrate la comunitate și fac o contribuție foarte semnificativă. Pentru toți acest motiv, credem că avem foarte mult potențial, Turcia și România, pentru mai mult cooperare.
Back to what's happening around Turkey, we saw that the recent conflicts escalated in the Middle East. Right now, while we're recording this interview, seems to be de-escalating, but we never know till the minute we broadcast this recording if it would be the same situation. How much does this conflict in the Middle East affect what's happening, for instance, in the war in Ukraine? Because for Putin is something helpful. If the people are concentrated, the attention of the world and the United States is concentrated there, then is less attention when it comes to Ukraine.
We try to not make this calculation. We try to be consistent in Ukraine, but also in the Middle East, to support diplomacy, bringing the parties on various conflicts together. Middle East is the beacon of human civilization. In the Middle Ages, all science came out of the Middle East. It has an enormous potential. It has all the resources, it has the people, it has the hospitality, it has the cuisine, the wonderful food. So all this war should go away. And we are making a lot of efforts for this. Syria. I think it will become a success story. It will take time, but we're heavily engaged. All our government capacity now is trying to help the state of Syria to stand on its own feet. And this is very important. Also, it's positive, as you indicated, that now there's a ceasefire between Iran and Israel. I hope that this will help a further deal that will be lasting between those two countries. But at the end of the day, Cristina, again, it's very important that we look at the root causes of some of the problems today, and that's Palestine. We need to... What happened there is really terrible. 56,000 people lost their lives. People are hungry. Their homes are knocked down, collapsed. We should at least see this bring a positive outcome. What can be this positive outcome? A two-state solution. Palestine as a state is recognized by Turkey, Romania, and 149 countries. The two-state solution, if Israel and Palestine can agree on this, with a Palestinian capital in East Jerusalem, people living in peace and in dignity, this should be possible. Why not? And from that point on, it would be, it's just a win-win.
This sounds very good, but looking again like to the Middle East, how it looks right now, seems very far away, this situation. And since you mentioned Israel, how is the relationship of Turkey now with Israel? Because you have to work together in Syria, but then again you criticize them for what's happening in Gaza.
We have been friends of the Jews for hundreds of years. Turkey was home to Jews running away from the Holocaust, from persecution. So this is how we approach this. They have been friends, but what they do, nobody can agree with this. People are hungry in Gaza. Their homes are turned to Stone Age. Hunger should not be weaponized. It's terrible. So we are ready to speak this with them. Actually, we are trying to really work our diplomacy in a good way with the US, especially with the Egyptians, with the Qatar, to indicate that more war, more conflict, more killing is not going to bring to Israel the security and peace that it seeks. Let's use the current situation, which, as you indicated, is a very difficult situation, but maybe at the end of the day, the story can end in a, let's say, relatively positive way. But we need to work on this, not by killing, by fighting, but more on the table, seeking diplomatic solutions, and it should be possible.
In an ideal world, yes, it should be possible.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Your president criticized, for instance, the attacks of Israel on Iran, but he didn't criticize the attacks of US over the nuclear sites of Iran. Do you think right now in the Middle East, because Iran created a lot of problems through its proxies all over the Middle East, will be, let's say, a better context to create this peace and diplomacy you're talking about with the weaker Iran?
We're very happy with the armistice, with the ceasefire that was reached between Iran and Israel. So that's the bottom line. And the bigger bottom line is that this should be used for diplomacy to bring about a lasting deal where people are not going to attack each other anymore. This is the bottom line. And on Palestine, again, a ceasefire, exchange of hostages and prisoners, letting humanitarian aid inside. And maybe if we can do this, it will pave the way for cooperation and diplomacy for a lasting peace. So it's not about who says what in particular situations, because we need to really keep the general picture and the strategic goal in our radar screen. We need to be positive.
Well, we'll keep this optimism in mind. Ambassador Altan, thank you so much for this interview.
Mulțumesc foarte mult pentru invitație. Sunt gata întotdeauna.
Atât pentru astăzi, dar rămânem în continuare online pe pagina de Facebook a emisiunii și pe conturile noastre de X și Instagram. Revenim cu subiecte noi din lumea diplomației și a politicii externe, vinerea viitoare de la 11:30 și reluare sâmbătă după miezul nopții. La revedere!